Hello, I'm Amanda Rafuse, and this is Spark, the Upper Valley's new arts and culture program here on CATV. We're hoping to spark your interest in the arts by hosting one-on-one conversations that explore the depth and variety of culture here in the Upper Valley, to the amazing people who create and those who administrate, the artists who educate and the generous patrons who donate, the audiences, students, and consumers who enjoy and participate. Welcome to Spark. All right, everybody, I am so excited and delighted to welcome my very good friend and an incredible woman, Heidi Reynolds, to Spark. So Heidi is a photographer, she's a supporter of the arts, and she is the executive director of Ava Art Gallery and Art Center in Lebanon, New Hampshire. She initially joined Ava as the exhibition manager after stints in development at Northern Stage and the Montshire Museum of Science, and she's been an Upper Valley resident since 2008. She served on the board of Northern Stage, on the Prouty Executive Committee. She was the Children's Education Program coordinator at St. Thomas Episcopal Church, and obviously, as you can tell from all of that, she is a passionate advocate for the arts and for arts and education. She lives in Hanover with her daughter, her partner, and her delightful puppy, Sugar. For those of you who don't know Ava, it's truly one of the major movers and mainstays for the visual arts here in the region, and its mission is to serve as a catalyst for creativity by cultivating an openness of space and mind to inspire, nurture, and showcase the artistic spirit. It achieves this mission through the curation of exhibits, by operating artist studios, and offering incredible education programming, which we're going to be hearing a lot about over the course of our interviews. One of the things about Heidi that we're going to talk about today is she really believes that everyone has an artist inside of them. Mm-hmm. So if you've never met Heidi, and that's doubtful because she is ever present and everywhere, you are in for a treat. Her humor, her kindness, and her openness are just a little bit of what make her an extraordinary human being and a leader. Heidi, welcome to Spark. Thank you for being here.
Wow, Amanda, I think I should just leave right now because I can't do anything but discredit whatever you just said. But thank you very much for those complimentary comments.
Well, it's true. It's been an honor. You're one of the first people that I met when I moved to the Upper Valley in 2013. And I feel like we've had such a great relationship as one of my board members. And then we got to work together at Northern Stage. And now I've gotten to see you become the executive director of Ava. And it's extraordinary, the work that you're doing there. So delighted to have you here. And you certainly entered Ava at an incredible time, and we'll talk a bit about that. But first of all, what do you think, why are the arts important, and what does it mean to you? What's important about the arts for us as human beings and our communities?
Well, I can start out with the obvious, and maybe it's not so obvious to certain people. For a community, having a rich arts based community, there's lots of advantages. I wouldn't be living here if the Upper Valley wasn't so deeply entrenched in the arts culture. I could have lived anywhere in the United States or the world for that matter, but I chose to live here because there were a lot of criteria on my list, but one of them was culture. And so yes, it brings, transplants, it brings people to the area who want to live a good quality of life. It brings commerce to the area. I mean, these businesses, the restaurants, like Three Tomatoes restaurant or Salt Hill Pub that are here in Lebanon wouldn't be able to survive if they didn't have Lebanon Opera House and Ava Gallery and Upper Valley Music Center, right? We feed the economy. But it's also how it feeds the soul. And it's hard to put it into words, but having a group of people that you can join with in an experience and a unique one-off experience, like theater, for instance, where you're in a room together and no one else is going to experience that except the people who are with you right then and there. And then to be able to converse about it. It starts conversations. It starts people thinking. You have a collective mindset to a certain extent where these conversations that might have been difficult in other arenas start happening. And then that builds the community and a culture that community starts forming based on what they're experiencing through the arts, right? So if I bring an artist into Ava who has something that's potentially controversial, am I going to sell the artwork? Probably not, but it's starting conversations.
Yeah.
And it's getting people thinking. And that is what fuels our souls, to say that I am this person who has my own thoughts and my own way of being. And I'm connecting with this other person over here who has their thoughts and their way of being. And we can coexist together, and we can bounce ideas off each other and really make something even bigger and better. I think that's really thrilling.
Yeah, that's incredible. And in addition to the work that that the arts bring into our communities and into our souls, you're talking a bit about professional arts and what that brings, but you've also talked to me a lot about liberating the artist within each of us.
Yes.
And the importance of participating in the arts. And I just wonder if you could talk a little bit about your philosophy on everybody is an artist at their souls.
They are. I always preface this by saying, when we engage with artists here at AVA, we'll have people who visit, because it's a couple, for instance, and one of them is a professional artist, right? They put artwork out there, they sell it, they've been to school, they've been trained. And then I look to the person that's standing next to them, and I'll say, well, and what are you an artist? And they'll say, oh God, no, I don't have any skills. I'm just, she or he's the artist. And I'll say, well, but what do you like to do in your free time? And more often than not, they'll say, oh, well, sometimes I, get a pen and paper out and I doodle, or I like to work with wood. I made a cabinet the other day, or, I welded something, or I took a piece of metal and I bent it. And I said, you know what, that's art. Just because it's utilitarian, just because you're not putting it up on a wall or putting it in a gallery and selling it, doesn't mean that it's not art or artistic. And the switch that goes off in people's minds when they consider that, you know what, that's something I actually do because I really enjoy it. And I don't have to validate it by saying I'm an artist or it's artwork. It's artistic, and it engages a different part of me, a different part of my mind, that frees me to free associate and to think about things that normally I don't think about. We have programs here specifically designed around art therapy, and it's not at all about doing the art. The art is the vehicle to free the mind, to have the conversations and the thought processes that help with therapy. Mm-hmm. And it's all about keeping the hands busy. So it has a place in everybody's life, whether or not you're going to sell it, whether or not you're even going to let anybody else in the world see it. We are all artists, and we all need to express that and to engage that side of ourselves and acknowledge it, that we need it to survive.
You know what I love about that too, is it helps us to look around and think, well, what in my day am I doing that's artistic? You and I talked the other day about everybody's a photographer now. We all have cell phones and we can all take really incredible pictures. Mm-hmm. And what are the other ways, whether it's gardening or cooking, or even just how you make your bed in the morning and arrange your pillows? How are you bringing creativity into your life? I really love that idea.
Or even the way you think about speaking with people is an art form. It's multi-dimensional, multimedia.
Yes, especially via Zoom. We're all on-camera actors now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So you on that have a new program at AVA that I think is just fascinating. And I know it's hard to sum up in brief, but I wonder if you could just talk about Outreach and how that is sort of helping to unlock people in isolation and unlock their creativity.
Yes. Well, from the get-go, as we all have experienced with the pandemic, when you're in isolation, it's not a fun thing. And things happen to your mental thought process. It happens to your psyche. And a group that has particularly been isolated are senior citizens who are living in assisted living facilities, or who are living in group home situations, or who are used to being able to go to senior centers and have their sense of community. And so we want to meet that need for those people and still give them that sense of community and the way to interact and socialize with other people, and to keep their hands busy so that they can think through the stresses in their lives. And so we started Outreach, and it's quite literally taking AVA artists who are volunteering their time most of the time. They come in and they do demonstrations on their art making process. So they talk about why they make the art or their decision-making process and how they go about doing the art, and they demonstrate it. And so I liken it to the old, public television Bob Ross episodes, where we love to tune in because we can just watch and learn from watching him and listening to him, whether or not we have the art materials with us. But a lot of these people who are engaging in Outreach do have art materials with them, and others just like to watch and be able to talk to other people. But it's been a balm for the soul. It started with our senior art program, which used to meet in person here once a week with, anywhere between 15 and 30 people on a given day. We're now doing senior art program online 3 days a week, and then Outreach is open to everybody and anybody that wants to join in twice a day on Fridays. And it's really grown exponentially. So it's definitely meeting a need, and we're really glad to reach out to the people who need that sense of community.
And what a great mix of the two things that you're most passionate about: building community and then also unleashing inner artists.
Yes, yeah. I mean, we've had these stories of seniors who said, "Oh, I got dragged into doing this. I didn't want to go. I'm not an artist." And next thing you know, they're making a livelihood from selling their artwork, and never had a clue that they had any artistic bent at all. So, but they just needed someone to ask them.
That's incredible. That's so great. I can't wait to watch some of those. So
Yeah.
what, Heidi, what do you do when you're not at work, which I know is barely ever? Do you do to bring art and culture into your life? What are some of your favorite things? Are you a reader? I know you love to go to theater, but what do you like to do?
I do. Well, yes, I love theater. I love to read, although usually I open a book and I get one page in and I fall asleep. So, don't we all? When I'm at home, I like to knit and sew. But mostly, I really enjoy being here. For me, the artistic experience, and that's why I threw that comment in, is how you engage with people, how you decide to speak with people. For me, that is an art form in like I said, unleashing and unlocking the potential in people. For me, that's a great pastime. And whether it's art related or, I've coached robotics, I've done so many different things, volunteering time. And I think that's my art form, is giving back to the community in a way that isn't concrete. It's not in dollars necessarily. It's in esprit de corps. Like, how do I help that person understand that they are valued, that they're important part of our community and our society, whether they recognize it or not.
See, everybody, didn't I tell you you're going to just want to get to know Heidi even more and all of the wonderful things that she does? So just one last question really quickly. What do you think is the most fun part of your job?
Oh my goodness. Talking to people. I mean, from the artists we've got people installing an exhibition right now, and I just love to go in and meet them and talk about their artwork, and how are they going to get that piece of artwork hung. Talking to donors, the people who strongly believe and support in the arts. And it's not just with AVA, it's all the organizations in the Upper Valley. We try to work together. And I'm just as likely to plug, Northern Stage as I am AVA or the Montreal Museum. That's the best part of my day. And I love when I can clear my desk of all of the must-dos and have-to-dos. And it's bad for me because I save it for the last thing that I do, is to be able to phone people and say, "Hi, how are you doing? We haven't talked in a while." And it's just because I want to know how they're doing. And that's really a really beautiful benefit of this job, is the relationships that I'm building.
And you're so good at it. And it's so good to be part of that and part of the conversation with you. So Heidi, thank you so much. I could talk to you for hours and hours, and I know that we'll have you back on in the future. And I'm excited to talk to some of your artists from AVA, as well as some of the teaching artists that you work with over the course of these interviews. So thank you for being with us today.
Thank you, Amanda. One last plug, and this is what Northern Stage did for me, is arts organizations are yes organizations. That's what they do for our communities. They say yes.
Yeah. Thank you. And thank you for saying yes to this.
All right. Love you all. Bye.
So you have been watching Spark, the Upper Valley's new arts and culture program here on CATV. Subscribe to CATV's YouTube channel and you can learn more about each guest, and you can visit their websites, which are listed in the episode descriptions. And you can, of course, learn more about everything Heidi spoke about at avagallery.org. Thank you so much for watching Spark.